那我们就欢迎我们的这个
汤凡
先生，给我们表演一段三国的评书，
《三国演义》的片段，
大家掌声鼓励，
好，请各位赏下耳音。建安13年秋7月丙午日，曹操亲率50万大兵兵发江汉，荆州牧刘表死了。刘表的儿子刘琮顺从母命归降曹操，那么曹操轻而易举得了金乡水旱马步军28万，又招募新兵，加在一块叫83万人马，诈称100万之众，沿长江下战，连营300里，平吞江夏呀，虎视江东，就跟一只大老虎似的，蹲在江边看着江东。这下东吴的人可都急了，上至孙权，下至士卒儿郎黎民百姓都急了。这仗没法打，怎么呢？人家曹操叫83万人，诈称100万，东吴呢上阵临敌者呀不足5万。您算这算数，一个5，一83，曹操的人跪在这儿不动，您东吴的人过去，一人一口刀，把胳膊剁折了，斩不尽，杀不绝，这仗没法打。那么急的孙权叫寝食俱废，什么意思？说大白话，吃不下饭，睡不着觉，可就惊动了孙权的母亲吴国太。吴国太前来探望孙权，那么孙权一看母亲来了，赶忙起身施礼：“儿参见国太。儿啊，如今曹兵压境，是战是降，你可有对策吗？”这个国太，如今文官要降，武将要战，而我一时拿不出决策。儿啊，你忘了吗？你兄长孙策、孙伯符临终之时托付于你，东吴若有大事，内事不决问张昭，外患不决问周郎。现而今你为什么不调周瑜、周公瑾回柴桑议事啊？哎呀，国太一句话叫一语点醒梦中人。那么孙权赶忙起身：“儿谢国太。”吴国太走了。打这儿说孙权有打鄱阳湖调回周瑜、周公瑾，周瑜回到柴桑郡，过江请来诸葛孔明，孙刘联兵，兵合一处，将打一家，大破曹兵83万。谢谢。Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very, very cool. So we will hopefully, by the time this comes out, have that totally subtitled, so people were following along. But
right.
What is this that we just saw?
It's a one of the famous episode in the whole story of Three Kingdoms. One of the major naval battles between the warlords Tao Cao and Liu Bei and Sun Quan. There are, of course, three kingdoms. I mean, three major warlords fighting each other, where Cao Cao is the most powerful warlord with most advantage of army, weapon, logistics, etc., etc. So as the other one, Sun Quan, they only have 50,000 soldiers. And they don't have enough manpower, plus all the logistics they need to fight against Cao Cao. So they form a coalition forces with another warlord, Liu Bei. So 2 against 1.
Yeah.
So that's all about the Red Cliff naval battle. Wow. 赤壁之战.
Yeah. Red Cliff. Oh, they have lots of Red Cliff movies as well. If you want to see Red Cliff
so that's the beginning part of that episode, Red Cliff.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So what time period, just whereabouts is this?
Oh, that's that's Donghan.
Donghan. So that's what, like 200s, 300s?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, so around 2,000 years ago. Not quite 2,000, but close to that.
Yeah, 2nd century, 3rd century.
And so these stories, I mean, this the Romance of the Three Kingdoms is a famous example, but this is the type of story that you might tell in the traditional Beijing storytelling.
That's one of the typical stories we're going to give. Because each storyteller, they have their own style, like 派别. For instance, I'm 连派. So 连派评书 is more specialized in war movies per se. 我们叫这个 袍带书。
袍带书。
袍带书就是骑马打仗。
Yeah. So like war stories, I suppose. Yeah.
杨家将啊，薛家将啊，哎，这叫袍带书。So in terms of movie, we might call it war movies or yeah. The others performers may specialize in 短打书。短打书 is more like action movies.
Yeah.
三侠五义啊，七侠五义啊，这种就是侠客。
Very cool.
So different performers,
styles,
they have
yeah.
different styles,
Yeah.
specialties.
And the Three Kingdoms is also a piece that I love because one of the 相声 pieces that I do with Ding Lao Shi, we do a version of 黄鹤楼.
黄鹤楼, yeah,
But-
Liu
but-
Bei, right?
Yeah, Liu Bei. But we change it to we call it 唱三国. And so it's singing the Three Kingdoms.
山人送主公.
Yeah. So like so Ding Lao Shi and I would be on stage and I'd say something like, oh, like, you know, 杰西你最近在哪儿啊？我回美国，我在那边创办了一个京剧艺术团。你也唱京剧啊？你唱什么戏啊？唱哪段？我们唱这个三国为主。哎，那三国我们唱一点三国。So he's thinking we're going to sing the Three Kingdoms of Wei, Shu, and Wu, and I think we're thinking of the Three Kingdoms of America, Mexico, and Canada.
Oh, I thought okay.
So like
Used to be China and the U.S. and Soviet Russia.
Yeah, like 总统，哎，你叫我这总统啊，你得叫我主公，哎主公啊，我称总主公啊。And then so we get into the all of the culture and stuff through that as well. So it's great to be able to hear this. And I'm sure it came across to you guys on camera, but imagine being in the room, sitting and listening to that kind of storytelling and having the performer really be on it.
Plus a combination of tea.
Yes,
and the storytelling. It used to be storytelling must be in the tea house.
Yeah, so let's talk about this now. We'll talk a little bit about the tea house culture and then get more into the storytelling. So,
of course.
People may not know, but my original idea for Jesse's Tea House, Jesse's Jaguar, was actually during the pandemic when I was still doing social media very strongly in China. I have a lot of followers in China, and I was figuring out how to do shows for them.
Right.
And so I had the idea of doing like an online tea house where we'd be able to do xiangshang, but also stand up, and also the podcast.
The podcast.
I actually like. Interestingly enough, even though podcasting is new, I feel like podcasting culture fits very well with the
Chaguar
like kind of culture.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was the original idea, and then it turned out that you guys online in the Western internet got really into the tea, and so I started making more videos over there, and the original idea kind of got distracted. But when I say Jesse's Tea House, it doesn't just mean the tea; it means
but
all
also
of this.
all together, right?
And so, why don't you explain to people what does a traditional Beijing tea house look like? What is it like?
Well, it depends. The tea house, there are two kinds of tea house in Beijing in old days. One is the by its mean literally tea house where you drink tea and talk, like the Starbucks of Chinese
like
version
a
of cafe. Yeah. But the other tea house is more a combination of tea, drinking plus storytelling on stage, or maybe xiangsheng on stage.
Yeah.
So it's a combination where they sell tea and snacks, like a lot of snacks and tea, and and where you can buy tickets. But this ticket contains both the tea and the performing on stage.
So you get like snacks, a show. You can watch the different performers, and they'll have storytelling. They'll have xiangsheng.
Right. Variety show.
Yeah, variety show. 综艺. At the I performed at the 老舍茶馆.
老舍茶馆,
Yeah, 老舍 Tea House in
that's
Beijing.
actually where my teachers performing.
Really? That means that this is a big place to perform in Beijing. So it's definitely the environment you go in, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's this big performance room with a big stage, and if you go to their regular show, they'll have some jokes, a little storytelling, but they'll also do like a little acrobatics or even gong fu or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they also do, I don't know the name in Chinese, what's the technique where they have that very long pot? They have like a pot of like for pouring tea.
Oh, 你说那个龙嘴茶壶, 龙嘴茶壶.
Yeah. They will throw this pot around
and then with a long
pour into the teacup with the pot. I wanted to get taught how to do that.
That takes a lot of exercise.
No, yeah. I found a teacher actually who trains students to be able to do that.
Do that?
Yeah, do that. And I asked, I was like, would it be possible to like learn it in just like, like have a little bit of fun and do like 2 hours and learn a little? He's
I don't think so.
like,
I think it takes years.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do. But anyway, this whole of the tea house culture is really what one of the things I wanted to bring about, because, tea is so much more fun with a show.
Right, exactly. any combination, I mean.
So the old Beijing tea houses, this was sort of, this was a tradition that was within the city of Beijing.
Yeah.
Is it just Beijing that has that tea house?
No, all over China, I would say each province, they have their own version of tea house and storytelling. Like Pinghua, which is southern part of the Suzhou Pinghua, Yangzhou Pinghua. They do in their own local dialect. Sichuan Pingshu, Sichuan 有评书. Sichuan Pingshu, they perform in their Sichuan Hua.
So,
of course, the main is the Mandarin. We're in Beijing and Dongbei, a lot of places. But nowadays, it's very difficult to find a really live storytelling tea house. Not much.
It's not as big as it used to be.
No, it used to be. They have. My teacher told me, like in the early 50s, there were nearly 200 different tea houses with different storytelling performers in Beijing alone, in Tianqiao.
Oh yeah, just in the Tianqiao area. That's also where the xiangsheng originated from. So this is why, I was so happy to be able to have Henry over, because I wasn't even thinking America had anyone who studied Pingshu and like could actually perform. But it's great you actually live near LA.
I live in Orange County. Yeah.
Orange County, so perfect. So Orange County, weirdly, is like a real hotbed of traditional Chinese culture. There's also like some traditional like shanshui artists that I've met.
Oh, really?
There. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So apparently there's a lot of old Beijingers who have moved to Orange County.
I'm one of those.
There we go.
Yeah.
So very cool. So we just heard this story, this Pingshu story. Tell us a little bit more about Pingshu and how it originated.
Pingshu originated in late 19th century, early 20th century. 清末民初. 清朝末年.
So towards the end of the Qing dynasty and the beginning of the Mingguo. How do you say in English? The Republic.
Republic of China. Yeah.
So it is an old art form, but compared to some in China, it's relatively new.
Right.
Relatively.
But still, it's an old form of folk art per se. It's over 100 years.
Yeah.
And then in the beginning, it's only only a small part of the Manchurians. They have nothing to do, so they go to the tea house, they listen to storytelling, and story itself is very limited. Because they're Manchurians, they do most likely the Qing dynasty stories. 康熙私访, 永庆生平, 雍正剑侠图, most likely connected with the Manchurian royal family and their adventures. Their version of Three Musketeers.
Yeah, so the Qing dynasty was, the emperors were ethnic Manchurians that came from the area that is now like Dongbei in China, northeastern China. And then when they established the Qing dynasty, they kind of established themselves as the rulers, and so it kind of makes sense that they would have in a tea house in the old Beijing. And in the old city of Beijing, originally only Manchurians were allowed in the walled city.
Downtown area.
So if you were downtown, everybody was Manchu.
Right.
And so everybody would be interested in hearing the old war stories.
They're all glorious times, old times. Yeah.
So that was kind of the origination was Manchu, but nowadays obviously many people listen
as long as it turns to Mingguo and more and more performers are learning those techniques of storytelling, so it can be different stories.
Nice.
And like Donghan, Xihan, 三国, 隋唐. Also like other how would I say it? 西游记.
Yeah, like Journey to the West.
聊斋.
Yep. Many of these, this is a cool thing about the Chinese history being so long is you have unbelievable amount of stories.
But 聊斋 is more than ghost stories. They also have love stories, etc., etc. So, variety of contents can be transformed into the form of storytelling. Like it's more like jazz.
Yeah, yeah.
If you know the rhythm, if you know the technique, you can transform any song or music into jazz.
Yes.
You can re-perform, regroup, and then it want to perform again. It sounds
I like that sort of jazz storytelling because it is like that.